I still remember the first time I watched the movie Sphere. I was 8 years old, and I couldn't understand what this object really was. Was it alive or not? Who created it? Why it was called the Sphere, and what exactly happened on the spaceship that found it in space? For years, I kept searching for any kind of answers. I started reading Michael Creighton's novel Sphere, hoping it would provide all the missing information. But in the end, it only left me with more questions than answers. Not a single review I've come across has ever tried to explain what the sphere actually is. And that's the question I find most fascinating, because everything else that happens in the movie is more or less clear to me. But if you look at the object from a scientific perspective, it defies all basic laws of physics and breaks the law of conservation of energy. Nothing comes from nothing, and energy doesn't flow from cold to hot. So how is the sphere able to materialize people's thoughts? How does it create giant squids, jellyfish, books, and even a black hole? It uses fear and the subconscious, which to me is a perfect defense mechanism. If I were the creator of the sphere and didn't want it to be used as a weapon against me, or to fall into the hands of a civilization that either isn't capable or isn't yet ready to use it as intended, then no one would be able to use it, not to harm themselves and not to cause destruction. That's exactly what Harry Adams realized at the end of the film. Because within us lies the power to forget. Norman understood that, I'm sure of it. They had no other option but to try and forget the sphere, and it worked.
Oh my God, my Shayla, my Shayla.
It was the only right wish they could have made. Humanity isn't ready for that kind of power. We weren't ready. People would have used it for selfish purposes. That's what led to the tragedy on the spaceship and the deep sea station. So what is the sphere really? Could it be a life form or an object of higher intelligence, capable of creating anything one imagines? A fragment of God, if you will? I invite you to explore this question with me. Let's take a look at all the theories and try to connect science with the film to solve the mystery of this strange alien object. By the way, did you know that 90% of all information on the internet today is stored in English? And that 75% of social media posts are written in English too? I've long wanted to understand what Ridley Scott is talking about without a translator, and why everyone else can't stop discussing it afterward. So let's begin with the first question. Why a sphere and not some other geometric shape? There are several scientific explanations for this, all related to three-dimensional space. Let's take the sci-fi film Interstellar as an example. In it, Cooper is told why a wormhole doesn't appear to us as a circular portal in the traditional sense. But we also know, the sphere is not a portal. In both the book and the film, the sphere is described as a golden, liquid metal object, resembling the texture of mercury. The key word here is liquid, which always tends to minimize its surface area. According to the law of surface tension, a sphere has the smallest surface area of any shape for a given volume. Liquids naturally form spheres due to the principle of minimizing potential energy. So from a scientific perspective, a sphere can very well be a natural object. There are many theoretical spheres in physics that either bend space and time like wormholes or destroy matter, like black holes. Logically, there should also be an object capable of creating matter without using energy, and that's exactly what we see in the film, the creation of something using only human thought and imagination. Giant squids, jellyfish, manifested from fear alone. On one hand, this suggests that the sphere wasn't created by someone or something, but there's a catch. First, the anomaly in how it reflects light. Second, the requirement of contact with a sentient being. As we remember, the sphere reflects everything, except people. This leads Harry to believe it's alive or that there's something inside it. Later, he says it's actually empty, there's nothing in it, it's not a living being. But is that really true? We can see that the sphere has two bright light reflections. But where do they come from? The only light source aboard the ship is the research crew, and the sphere doesn't reflect them. It is the source of that light. No matter the angle, whether seen on a monitor from above or from behind, the sphere always looks the same. It doesn't reflect anything. But when Norman, Beth, and Harry try to erase their memories and forget the sphere, there's a shot showing it acting like a mirror. And in space it reflects Earth itself. Now, about that contact. All three crew members who were able to manifest things from their minds, out of fear on a subconscious level had been inside the sphere. Others who never made contact didn't show any such abilities, so it turns out that the sphere itself doesn't actually do anything. It simply grants humans the power to materialize their fantasies and nightmares. And that leads to one clear conclusion: it was created. And based on everything we've seen, it's safe to assume that an alien civilization succeeded in creating an object that embodies the power of a god. In order to use the artifact, conscious contact is required, with a life form the sphere itself does not reflect. As Beth said, this sphere wants to be caught. It's programmed that way. The peak of scientific progress created by a superior race. It's capable of everything the human mind can imagine: a time machine, a portal, a weapon, salvation. The second question that comes up while watching the movie is, what exactly happened on the spaceship that discovered the sphere? And how did it fall into a black hole? And how did it end up back on Earth? The answer is actually simple. You can understand it just by watching the film closely. The expedition encountered an alien object. Naturally, they had no idea what the sphere was capable of. Those who made contact began to imagine their fears and desires. Someone aboard that ship must have feared encountering a black hole in deep space, so the sphere manifested that fear into reality. It's hard to believe the spaceship just accidentally fell into a black hole. A more logical explanation is that the sphere created it. Now the question is, how did they return to Earth? Most likely, after the chaos aboard the ship, one of the crew members who had been in contact with the sphere simply wished to return to Earth. That wasn't a fear, it was a genuine desire. The same kind of desire that Norman, Beth, and Harry expressed at the end of the movie. The only thing I still don't understand is why they returned to the past, and that's where I need your help. If you have any thoughts on this, please let me know in the comments. The movie Sphere was released in 1998. Its overall budget was around $80 million, but it only made about $38 million at the US box office. Because of that, the studio pulled it from wide release. The film was a commercial failure, but over time, it found its audience, and today it's considered a cult classic in its genre. It followed the same path as movies like The Thing, Event Horizon, and The Abyss, films that were only truly appreciated years after they came out. There aren't many major differences between the book and the movie. In the novel, there were 4 main characters. There was also a marine biologist. But during development, the studio decided to remove that character, believing there wouldn't be enough screen time to do his story justice. In 2009, screenwriter Ronald Mudd expressed interest in writing a prequel that would explore what happened on the spaceship, how they found the sphere, and what went wrong. The studio turned down the idea, but they gave Ronald the opportunity to work on the prequel to The Thing instead. They told him that if The Thing did well at the box office, they'd consider greenlighting Sphere 2. But, as we all know, things didn't exactly go as planned, so a sequel seems pretty unlikely. By the way, I did a full breakdown of The Thing, where I tried to prove that Childs was assimilated, and I even found the exact moment when the blood sample locker keys were lost. That breakdown is linked in the description of this video. In any case, I believe Sphere is a highly underrated film, and it's honestly a shame that even after all these years, we're still left with so many unanswered questions. I hope I was able to answer at least a few of them for you. Let me know your thoughts on this film in the comments. Did you like it or not? And of course, I'll be waiting to hear your feedback. See you soon!